Investigators say the men would brag to their friends, saying they plan to have sex with their sons.
All over social media, meant to spread awareness about sexual harassment and abuse.
To a continual atmosphere of sexual harassment.
They seemed like the perfect family. 2 devoted fathers, 2 innocent boys, a picture-perfect home in small-town Georgia. Social media painted a dream. Birthdays, vacations, laughter frozen in time. But behind those curated smiles has lurked a nightmare. A home not of love, but of horror. A secret so dark, so twisted, that when the truth came to light, it sent shockwaves across the nation. The cyber tip. It started with a routine alert. On July 22, 2022, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's GBI Child Exploitation and Computer Crimes Unit received a notification from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. A cyber tip flagged suspected child sexual abuse material, CSAM uploaded to a Google account traced to Walton County. These alerts were frequent, but something about this one led investigators to take swift action. A team of specialists trained for cybercrime began unravelling the secrets. The IP address in question led to a modest home in Loganville, Georgia. It was what lay within the data. The highlighted files were inspected by analysts. Timestamps, locations, and user relationships were revealed by metadata. The horrible photographs and videos made it evident. This was not an isolated incident. The content had only just been posted, meaning there was undoubtedly still abuse happening somewhere. There was an obvious sense of urgency. Rescuing victims in real time was more important than merely obtaining illegal material. Every digital fingerprint, every keystroke, they all left an impression. Investigators discovered a man named Hunter Lawless. Proper ironic, innit? Life's got a wicked sense of humour. Back to the story. His digital trace coincided with the uploaded content. He wasn't in their criminal database yet, but that would change soon. The detectives didn't wait. A team was assembled and a search warrant was drafted. Everything was coming together, but nobody was prepared for what they were about to discover. The first arrest. That evening, a group of police officers arrived at the suspect's house. Porch lights illuminated the well-kept lawns. Through closed curtains, the flicker of a television screen cast shadows on the walls. A normal street, a normal house, but inside, something darker lurked. A firm, deliberate knock. Moments later, a thin, unshaven man appeared. Hunter Lawless. His eyes flashed with recognition and fear before the police even spoke. He didn't ask why they were there, he already knew. "Step aside," an officer instructed. The living room was cluttered, half-empty Coke cans on the coffee table, an old-fashioned recliner facing an open laptop. On the screen, folder names investigators immediately recognised. A silent exchange between officers, a nod, external hard drives, USB sticks, scattered everywhere. This wasn't just possession, it was part of something bigger. Lawless slumped onto the couch, hands shaking. His fingers twitched against his slacks. His breathing laboured. A long pause, and then, finally, he whispered, "Zach Zulock gave it to me." Oh right, of course, that old chestnut. Classic "it wasn't me" routine, like a kid blaming the dog for eating his homework. Except in this case, the homework's properly grim. As if dropping that name was going to make him look any less dodgy. Bless him, he really thought that was his get-out-of-jail-free card. Spoiler alert, it's not. The air in the room changed tension. The name meant nothing to them yet, but that was about to change. The raid. In record speed, a second warrant was obtained. The Zulock's house was the epitome of suburban normalcy. Well-kept lawn, peaceful street, bicycles resting against the side of the house. But behind that flawless exterior, an unimaginable nightmare. Law enforcement knew they had to move fast. The safety of the victims was more important than simply apprehending two criminals. Before dawn, the team assembled. The air was heavy. Everyone knew what they were about to discover would be horrific. SWAT moved in. The front door swung open. Officers rushed inside. Zachary and William dragged from their bed. Confusion, panic. But the true horror had not yet been uncovered. The children. officers moved cautiously down the hall. 2 little boys, awake now, clutching their blankets, terrified. A shaken officer lifted them up, carrying them to safety. Only after they were removed did the true investigation begin. What they found would haunt them forever. The evidence speaks. Every room's every device Martin told a story of betrayal. Hidden cameras above door frames in corners, watching, recording. 7 gigabytes of data, digital chat logs, social media exchanges with other predators. The confessions came slowly. First, denial, then hesitation. And finally, a flood of graphic detail. They knew there was no way out. The legal battle. Brick by horrific brick, the prosecution built an impenetrable case. The Zulocks had no choice but to plead guilty. December 19, 2024, the verdict. You are both sentenced to 100 years in prison. No chance of parole. Well, 100 years in the clink. Proper bargain that, should have just launched the key into the Thames. The verdict. The Zulocks were led away in handcuffs. Meanwhile, the boys, finally safe, sat in the back. Too young to grasp the legal jargon, but old enough to understand one simple truth. The monster who hurt them were never coming back. Justice and healing. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. District Attorney Randy McGinley stepped forward. His voice was steady, but his face exhausted. Justice has been served. This case was more than a conviction. It was a wake-up call. How had these men been allowed to adopt? How many others were out there? For now, however, the focus was the survivors. A caring foster family, therapists, child advocates. A chance to heal. Not victims anymore, survivors. Epilogue. A message to the world. Cases like this remind us evil lurks behind closed doors, but they also prove one thing. Predators always slip up, and when they do, they get caught. The Zulocks, once hiding behind a mask of so-called normalcy Noros, will now spend the rest of their days rotting in a cell. Freedom, not a bloody chance. As for the victims, their road ahead won't be easy, but this time they are not alone. Never again.